Facebook. We're taking phone calls live at 877-853-5247. Meeting ID 377-678-9872. Hit the pound button twice to join the show. We got 3-on-3 today. Larry Ridley here, SNY TV, little NBC Sports, little Mad NFL, little NBA 2K League. Got the broskies. Whoa, dude, did you just hold the pose? You let that thing fly. Okay. He's happy about the Brooklyn Nets. Good win last night. No, they're not
It
a
was
top
scary hours last night.
Hey, James Harden did his thing, man.
Yeah, and you know what was funny? I was about to go to sleep. And then something told me, like, nah, let me stay up just a little bit. So I was scrolling. And then before you know it, it was down to 5. And I said, I'm up now. Like, Hard wasn't even in the game yet. I said, okay, like, and then it just was unreal. Like, I mean, hey, they played their butts off last night. Shouldn't have won though. Really shouldn't have won. Like,
yeah.
But
now Phoenix is a good team, man. But good win. I look, you guys playing without KD and Kyrie. That's a damn good win, man. You got like
yeah. I think for me personally, I was a little frustrated with Harden in the beginning because all the facilitating, but I think like I was thinking in the mindset of a role player. Like if the superstar is constantly looking to get you open and get you shots, you want to make shots. And I think he's done a great job. So like I think Charles Barkley said like that was in his element. Like I mean he was used to being out there by himself in Houston. So it was like he felt at home and he scored when he needed to score and he got everybody the ball when they need the ball. So
it reminds me of Paul Pierce used to always say, man, I give the game what it needs. And that's exactly what he did last night, man. You know,
right.
Double. You know, Joe hit some threes. You know, Johnson played well. It was good. Look, that's a good win for the Nets, man. A win against Phoenix without two of your top 3 players. We can commend them on that. We're talking NBA guys. We'll get into some more NBA. Draymond, Jason Tatum. We're talking the All-Star game. Got to get your thoughts on that. Keisha Lance Bottoms, the mayor down there in Atlanta. Like, don't bring your butt to Atlanta. TV event only. That's all the All-Star game is about. So don't come down here and wilding and all that other stuff. So we'll get into some of that. LeBron, I guess, 10 years ago, had a couple of tryouts in the NFL. He believes he would have made the NFL. I sort of agree with him. I think he probably could have made a roster or something like that. I don't know how great he would have been, but, look, if Antonio Gates and some of these other guys, Antonio Gonzalez can get in there, then we can see
Julius
LeBron
Peppers.
At 6'8". Julius Peppers, exactly. We can see these guys do their thing at tight end. And then, of course, we'll end with Compete for Everyone Black News Channel this weekend, episode 38, 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday. All right, let's go ahead and get started, guys. We'll start with Jason Tatum. Thought it was very interesting, man. Celtics got the win last night, but before the game, a lot of scuttlebutt about Jason Tatum, not playing at his best, not optimal, if you will, with COVID and some of the effects that he's starting to feel. He said, sometimes he didn't want to say he got tired, can get winded. Conditioning can be a factor, breathing heavy at times and things of that nature. How concerning is this, man, with COVID that, we saw Cam Newton, another Boston athlete, kind of was in a fog for about 2, 3, 4 weeks, man, coming back from COVID. Any thoughts and concerns on the impact and the effect of COVID on these very professional athletes, high caliber athletes at that? We'll start with you, D-Dubs.
COVID is going to affect different guys in different ways. There are some lingering effects, and what might affect me might affect you differently. So it just all depends. But, if he's talking about that, he's, feeling somewhat winded at times, it probably could take a lot out of you. There's been some people who've had COVID, they haven't had like really strong symptoms. And then you got guys like, Michael Strahan's talking about, or Tony Baselli was a classic example. Big 6'7" offensive lineman, and he was in the ICU. Big strong guy, So this thing could really bring you to your knees. So, I'm glad he's made it through it, but he might still feel those lingering effects for the next couple of weeks and hopefully not much longer.
Well, I also remember, I think about the kid from Florida. What's his name? Johnson? I can't remember his name. The star player on the University of
Florida, yes.
Remember, now it wasn't confirmed, but there was some scuttlebutt and some talk, some rumors about how COVID. I know he had COVID because he was one of it ravaged and rampaged through the University of Florida basketball team. He's still not back. So now, but that could be some other, mitigating factors as well that's causing him not to be back. But we've seen it, OG, where this thing can, like you said, like OG, like D-Dub just said, it can bring it to your knees, man. It can take its, proverbial pound of flesh.
Yeah, I think it's something that you kind of want to be really mindful about because at the end of the day, he's still going out there competing against other players. Uh, it's not the most cleanest place on the court. I mean, you got 10 guys sweating, I mean, and battling and competing. The thing about it, like what Derwin mentioned was the lingering effects. And obviously, anytime you get sick, depending on how it affects you, especially like from the respiratory, and you talking about getting up and down the court, that can also put pressure on a lot of other body parts that can be more detrimental. So I think it's something they obviously want to watch closely and see how things unfold. I mean, because definitely we don't want to see any more instances of anybody collapsing on the court.
Yeah, we'll definitely keep our eyes on that. They got a good win over the Nuggets the other day, beat them by about 14, 15 points. So, but yeah, we definitely want to keep our eyes on that. My thing is when you look at these athletes, man, like we haven't really seen any severe cases, especially with the younger athletes. We've seen some older athletes and things of that nature have some issues. You mentioned Tony Baselli, but no one in their prime has been really knocked down. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
really out for the count. We've seen Cam and some others, maybe have a game or two where they're maybe not themselves. I think the more we see this, I think maybe the more serious this will be for some of these guys, man. Like, look, I need to sort of watch it, man. I need to follow the protocols and follow the CDC guidelines and all the other, the leagues and the sports leagues and follow their directions. How important you think that will be as far as making these guys understand, like, look, this shit's serious, man.
I think I read earlier, I think they did, like 400 plus testing. I think it was like five new cases
Mm-hmm.
uh, within the NBA. So, I mean, I think now I mean, we're gonna get to this, but I mean, but I think that's even more cautious about the All Star game and different things like that because obviously you're not going to be able to contain the traffic that's going to bring and the same like now with reopenings and different things like that. I mean, you really want to be cautious of all the players. I mean, you don't know. We're not in a bubble, so we don't know
Mhm.
everybody's lifestyle and
Right.
and obviously mentalities. I mean, because throughout the world, not nothing surprising to me, but some people still, are not protecting themselves or don't really care for COVID, and then you have other people who are protecting themselves and following protocols. So it's going to be a daily challenge until we really can figure out what all COVID entails. Because as right now, for in a lot of places, it's cold season, sick season, and
Mm-hmm.
then here
Wind
it is,
season.
roll
Mm-hmm.
around spring. We don't know how things are going, how people's body are going to react to COVID. So it's definitely something that I think is they're going to start locking down on it more often, especially if symptoms like this keep popping up.
Yeah, especially if you start to get some of these, top notch players, top five, top 10, top 20 players. I think it's only going to serve as a cautionary tale, a warning to some of the other guys. Like, all right, take it serious, and that's the biggest takeaway that I had from it.
Mhm.
Like, he wanted to be careful with his wording, but he did say, look, I've been winded. There have been times I'm not the same out there. So that definitely was something that's going to raise some eyebrows and get
Yeah.
some other players' attention.
He
Let's
he
go
he
ahead. Go ahead.
he shouldn't hold anything back. Whatever he's experienced, he should
Sure.
just let everybody know so people can learn from him. And just as you were speaking, I thought about Miles Garrett. Didn't Miles Garrett have it for the
The
Cleveland
Cleveland
Browns,
Browns.
the
I
Yeah,
defensive
can't
end?
remember.
I
Yeah, I
think
can't remember.
I think he had it because he was on a tear at the beginning of the season.
Mhm.
And then he missed a couple of games. I
Mhm.
want to say that he had it, and then he wasn't really the same after that, but I'll double check that. But I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure that he had it.
hey, the thing I want to add
Quick.
to it is that when we think about professional athletes, these are people who are getting the optimal
Yes.
treatment of
Well, and
like
not only that, they're in the best shape of anybody on earth.
right. So you add that combination together, and you would think like, okay, if they can still go through everything that they go through and still manage to come in contact, then obviously people who are not receiving that type of treatment and not in that type of shape definitely want to think twice before you do anything out of the norm.
Absolutely. Real quickly,
He
Draymond, go ahead. No, I'm gonna go ahead and move
he
on.
I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
He did have it. He did have it, and
Miles
he and
Garrett.
yes,
Uh-huh.
he did have it. And then weeks later, he said it still was affecting his breathing because he had like 8 or something, 9 sacks or something like that.
Right.
Beginning of the year, he was on a tear. Then he had
Hmm.
COVID. I think he missed like 2 games or whatever. He was never the same after that.
Right. Well, Cam Newton tried to downplay it, but everybody around him was saying like, dude, he's suffering. He's still still sort of see the lingering effects with Cam up in New England.
Mhm.
Real quickly, Draymond Green, press conference spent a lot of the time talking about the double standard. With players being sat while they're in the midst of being traded, but when a player asks to be traded, they're considered malcontents, cancers in the locker room. Your thoughts on Draymond? Look, this is an age-old question. We hear it every year, but it seemed like Draymond, one of the larger and bigger voices in the league, bringing some much needed attention to it. I tend to agree with them, but also, you're going to have some people playing devil's advocate. Look, this is what
Mhm.
you sign up for. You're basically property, not in the literal sense, but look, the
Right.
teams do have control, and things are different. I know the Cleveland Cavaliers had a statement today where they were like, I guess everybody's got. You're entitled to your own opinion. Is basically what they said
Mhm.
when it came to this. Your thoughts on Draymond speaking up for Andre Drummond, James Harden, and anybody that's on the trading block and how they get treated, as opposed to commanding a trade and demanding a trade.
I thought
What
his
you know?
I thought his we don't all look alike.
Yeah, you know.
Hey, I thought his statements was powerful because when he was speaking, I was like really tuned into him.
Drop the
He,
mic too.
yeah, because he says a lot of different stuff sometimes. And then I was listening to Chris Broussard today, and he had some valid points too. So it's like, on one hand, I can hear what he's saying, but then on the other hand, you know, I think there was a problem with players that were going to be traded and not knowing that they were going to be traded. No
Mhm.
one's telling them anything. I think Boogie Cousins was traded and he didn't know. He found out from a report or something like that. So it's like, are you mad at the organization when they say, hey, we're looking to move you? We're not going to play. They're being honest. They're telling you exactly what's going on. And we're not going to play you, say, a lot of minutes. Or maybe we're not going to play you because we don't want you to get hurt. And just being honest about it versus a guy like, they talked about Hardy, how he kind of milked it. Even Draymond said he
He
milked
did
it.
it. He said he dogged it. Yeah,
He dogged it,
yeah.
So at the end of the day, you have ownership and you have players, and they're not necessarily equal.
No, they're not.
Even though the players, and somebody made a good point today, is that the players they get as much money as some of the owners. They're still on that kind of level.
Mhm.
Um, so, and then Broussard also said that the players are not being mistreated at all. So it's kind of like what you signed up for as part of the business. I mean, I think it's more the fans kind of dog out players when they see because they're paying this money to see their best talent play, and especially like say in a place like New York, we can tell if you're milking it, and we're gonna dog you out, and we think you're not giving us 110%. The fans, especially with social media, the fans could be ruthless. So I think it just kind of comes with the territory, even though Green has some really, really good points.
OG, but if the players come and they're docile and they're very respectful and professional and say, "Hey, I've given the city all I've wanted. Kindly trade me, sir." They don't get the same sort of treatment. I guess that's what Draymond is saying. Doesn't matter how they request the trade. They're
JJ
considered
Watt,
malcontents.
JJ Watt,
What about JJ Watt?
he did that.
Yeah, and it was totally different than what other people experience.
Well, I mean, but his body of work speaks for itself. No one could ever say
James Harden, James Harden got the same damn body of work as JJ Watt, if not better. It's probably more better. It's probably better.
Mm,
I agree. Look, I agree. Andre Drummond, no, but there've been plenty of high caliber athletes that are demanding trades and they get treated like Draymond said. He's got a valid point. We're not arguing that point. The point is, what do you do about it?
but
It's I
go
think
ahead.
I think it's more of a I mean it's a integrity issue. I mean, and just in how people conduct business. Like I mean, I think it's easy to play both sides of the fence on this because of course, as an owner, I mean, you're the boss. Like I mean, the player
I
like
cut
you
the checks.
employ the player.
Yeah.
So it's like most of us who work quote unquote regular jobs. in the application, you said at any point in time you can be terminated via bylaws, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of know that at any point that you could be traded or you could be cut or you could be released or whatever. Like it's not something that they don't know. I just think how it's handled always comes down to an emotional situation. I mean, we don't always know the I think the intricate details to situations that cause some of them to be blowups and then some of them not to be blowups. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I've been in a situation as a GM where some players wanted to be traded, and then when they got traded, they was unhappy about being traded. So it's like it's really a rough thing because I actually can relate to this to a degree. But me, I'm always on terms that I'm going to try to send you where you want to go. I never want anybody to be in Brooklyn that doesn't want to be in Brooklyn. So it's just I don't know how people handle it. Some people they don't care. It's business as usual. And then other people will be more, I don't know, I'll say compassionate for a lack of better
Sure.
term, but
Yeah.
they don't have to be. I
No.
mean, that's just the person. I mean, some owners have a heart and some don't. I mean,
Right.
so I think that's ultimately what we see. I mean, and then obviously when you add social media and the fan base and how people perceive that whatever athlete that the spotlight is being put on for that situation, that definitely plays a big part in it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of it, coming from the fan base, the way they look at it, they're never going to understand it. The with the money and things of that nature. I will say this: look, when these players get traded, they do get housing and lodging. They'll pay their $4,000 or $5,000 a month, rent or whatever
It
for
ain't
their
like just
apartment.
get out.
Right, right. Or they'll put you up in a hotel and they take care of that stuff for, a month, two, whatever, however long. I forget what what the language is on it, but I do know they pay for all that stuff. So look, it's a little bit different than you and I, but I do understand ultimately where Draymond is coming from because, it is a double standard and you can't have it both ways. Look, if you want me to be, like I said, docile and quiet and professional about it, then, treat me as such. But you're right. I
Right.
think the players get the raw end of the stick. But hey, there's owners and then there's players. There's a
Right.
reason why the owners have a box and it's usually up high, looking down low. So there you go. But
And right,
I did like Draymond speaking. I'll go ahead real quick.
right now I think we have three situations that are going on right now
Uh-huh.
that kind of play out all three different parts of this thing that we're talking about.
Mhm.
You have JJ Watt, body of work.
Sure.
Gabe, I don't think there's any athlete that's given more to the city of Houston.
Well,
Even
but if you unpeel the onion,
Mhm.
there's some talk down in Houston that J.J. Watt wants to be traded because he's got big money coming up, and Houston really wants to get rid of his butt anyway because
well,
the
okay.
talent is not matching the salary anymore.
JJ Watt, when he's on that football field, he gives 110%.
He does. He's not the same. Not the
He's
same talent.
I understand that. He's older, yeah.
Mhm.
He's coming at the end of his career. So, you know, both got, the new GM that's there, he's thinking about, okay, he wants to put his blueprint on his team now. He doesn't necessarily need an older defensive end that's
Sure.
been breaking down the last couple of years. But I just want to make a point. You have JJ
Quick.
Watt done everything for Houston. Then
Mhm.
you have
So did Harden.
Harden that he comes in out of shape, not buying into the new coach. That's not doing him any favors.
But he's already done everything for Houston. They've been
But
talking about this since the
but
end
you can
of the
kind of
bubble.
say showing up to your job out of shape is
No,
unprofessional.
he was,
Okay, and
but we
then
knew this was coming back in September, October when they were done.
but
September.
I'm just talking about the optics of it. And then
Sure.
you have Deshaun Watson. He's asking to be traded, and look how those three different guys how they've been treated.
Yeah,
The guy that's been vilified, I think, has been Harden.
sure.
Nobody's really vilifying Watson because they see what's been going all around Watson with the organization.
Well, they've
Or
seen
this,
him. They've seen him carry that dog franchise too.
right? And
So
nobody's killing JJ Watt.
sure,
So
I agree.
I think it goes back to
What
Real
I
quick.
always say is when people like you, the truth don't always matter. Like, but when they don't like you, then everything matters. So
Everything through the prism of those rose-colored glasses. You're absolutely right about that. Atlanta All-Star Weekend. Keisha Lance Bottoms, man, she's a boss. She's telling Derwin, OG, don't come to Atlanta.
so about
Don't
you.
come
You got
down
freaking flyer miles down
don't go down there starting no stuff.
there.
Stay away from the Blue Flame and all that good stuff.
Hey,
This is a
how you know the
TV
name of the spot?
only. She called Goosebumps, yeah, cheetah, all that good stuff. She called out some of the promoters and club people down there, like, hey, don't be marketing and messaging to people. I
Hmm.
like this how she's going about it. I don't know if it's going to work. What do you think about this, OG?
Hey, money talk. I mean,
TV
eh,
only event,
yeah, it's
All Star
rough.
Weekend, March 5th through 7th. Go ahead.
I think when you get LeBron speaking out about being against it, like it's a bit. I thought it was a big deal because I mean he's one of the best showmen that we've had in it, and he's always played most of the time in any everything. He haven't gave us the joy of being in the dunk contest or anything like that, but I mean he's always participated. I think some of the players are like, I know they're feeling the wrath of this rush process.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we had the finals, then it turned around a few months later, season starting, and then we just the flow is being rushed. And I think I was talking to somebody before actually the season started, and then actually when it started up the first month, like some of these players are used to doing certain things around these periods of the year, and it's kind of being offset because of the rush of the season starting back up. So I mean, obviously, I'll take the entertainment just like anybody else, but I think at some degree, I think that even a large outcry beyond what Draymond was saying and things like that is these are human beings like
Mm-hmm.
that happen to entertain us for a living, for a nice size living at that. But I mean, at what cost sometimes? Like I mean, they're still human. They still go through things. They still have families and things like that. So uh, I mean, I can imagine the All Star game is probably going to happen. I don't know how much fun it's going to be for the entertainment value because obviously one of the big things about All Star Weekend is the crowd, the atmosphere,
Sure.
and everybody being electric.
Good.
I don't really see that being the same with limited capacity or almost to no capacity. So
Sure.
but
Yeah.
I guarantee those who she's telling not to promote and not to do this, it's time to eat. It's eating season for them.
Right, exactly. This is
Yeah.
their
If
Super
it
Bowl.
happens.
Literally. This is their NBA Finals. This is their All Star weekend. D Dubs, real quickly. When you look at it, the players, I don't think it's that narrative is not the problem. The problem is it's the outside, it's the fans, the entertainment
Hmm.
district, the red light district, if you will.
Yeah.
That's what they're talking about. It's got nothing to do with the players and the protocols and them being safe
Right.
and out of harm's way.
Yeah. And we hard headed people. So they're gonna show up. If I'm Lance Bottoms, I will be trying to put some ordinance for that weekend where you start finding some of these businesses that decide they might want to have a party or they might
Mm.
want to do something. I don't think it's going to stop any of, say, prospective young ladies showing up at the hotels, but also a weekend, people are going to be looking to try to get into some stuff or something to do. I
Literally
don't,
looking to get into some stuff.
yeah, literally.
Like
And,
waiting down in the lobby
yeah,
on the street,
Hey,
yeah, yeah,
looking for it.
hey
Like
Willie,
this.
at work gonna be flying in.
yeah. They're not gonna try to miss their opportunity to hit the jackpot. So yeah, so I don't know. She's gonna have a tough one on her hands that weekend.
Yeah. I have seen, I was telling Coach K about this yesterday. I've seen some young ladies on Instagram, made no bones about it, with their hotel accommodations, reservations, and all that stuff. So, look, it's going down.
Yeah.
You're not going to stop it, man. Like, there's nothing you can do about it. So, I'm not going to call anybody out, but I saw multiple situations where I'm like, okay, they know
Mm-hmm.
what they're doing. This is their, like you said, this is their moneymaker
Yeah.
that weekend. So they're not going to pass it up because the mayor doesn't want a bunch of people there.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be fascinating. We'll keep an eye on that All Star game once again, March 5th through the 7th that weekend.
Hey, a lot of chicken wings gonna be
Lemon pepper,
Uh,
a lot of thighs, a lot of breasts too. Don't forget about those. Ain't the only
yeah.
daggone wings you're going to see flying
right.
out of the establishments in the A. LeBron mentioned the NFL tryout back in 2011, Seahawks and Cowboys. Said he would have made it. He was offered it during the lockout season. So this would have been his first year in Miami, right? Yes,
Yeah.
second year in Miami because the lockout was 2011, right?
Mm.
Yes, because I think he left Cleveland summer of 2010. That was the decision. They got beat by Boston. So it was either that year or the following year, 2011. But it was 2011. You think LeBron would have been a good NFL tight end?
I do. I mean, he'd have been a hybrid,
Mm-hmm.
for sure. One thing about the NFL, you can't flop. So
Yeah.
He's got
I
big
don't know.
target too, man. They would chop that tree. You think
Yeah,
vintage
man.
Gronk throw like that?
The way he be kind of flopping, he don't really like seeing like flopping from contact. I don't know how much he would have lasted. He's a specimen, but that coming across the middle
You would
and them
have some
safeties.
guys seeking him out.
Yeah. Mm-mm-mm.
no
Look at the
18
Texans.
years for sure. Like I
Yeah.
mean, but I think he would have been. I mean, LeBron is an athlete, man. He a freak of nature. I mean, for real. Like so, I think he
Yeah.
would have been good. I think other players that we was talking about earlier. What was it Gonzalez,
Antonio Gonzalez.
Peppers,
Yeah.
Antonio? I
Antonio
mean,
Gates.
yeah, I think they were good players, no doubt, but I don't think they were the athlete. I think, of course, Gonzalez, if I had to really compare, but
Tony Gonzalez. Excuse me.
yeah,
Tony
Antonio Gates.
Gonzalez. Yeah.
Tony
I
Gonzalez.
think basketball, none of them compare, but football, I think Gonzalez like probably would have been a better comparison, but I think LeBron would have. I like I said, he would have been a hybrid. You can line him up anywhere. He's speed. He got speed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it wasn't like he didn't dominate the high school football scene when he played. I mean, although that was high school, but I mean, if you start looking at how he played and then translate that possibly on into college and into the pros,
Sure.
I think he'd have been great.
D-Dubs, you said I would have tried it for the team. I would have made the team. Your boys, the 12s out there in Rain City, man. Can you see 23 out there, man, running routes with Russ?
No. Oh, I don't know. I know that the year that we won the Super Bowl, we had
Think about having him and DK Metcalf, two freaking specimens out there with the
but,
Hawks.
but can LeBron catch though? I don't know, man. Because when I look at Tony Gonzalez, I look at Antonio Gates. I want to say those two guys are like power forwards,
Mm-hmm.
and they were used to body contact in the paint, battling and stuff like that. That's
Mm-hmm.
not really LeBron's game.
Mm-hmm.
He's on the perimeter.
Actually, LeBron's bigger than both of them.
Yeah, he's might be bigger than both of them.
Yeah.
Serves Mercedes Lewis, and I think he's a bum. He's been in this. He's still in the league. He's 6'7".
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how good LeBron's hands are. He doesn't really way he plays. He doesn't like really mix it up in the paint.
I think he's got decent hands. My thing is, can he handle the physicality? Because the NBA is physical, but it ain't nowhere near the NFL. And he's gonna have to block. He can't just line up. You can't just flex him all the time. And like I said, his chest would be exposed, man, because he's already 6'8", 6'9", and it's like limber, man. Timber. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna chop him down, dude. They're gonna hit him in his knees and hit him right in his chest. So I would have loved to see it, but I would have loved to see how much he could handle physicality. That's my thing. So all right, guys.
I don't think he would have had the length of career like a Gonzalez and even Gates.
No,
those guys
he
played.
wouldn't play long.
Yeah, them guys played.
Because he would have went back to the NFL. I mean, NBA. Maybe play a year or two. I don't know. I mean, but it was fascinating to think that unequivocally he thought I would have made the team, and there's no doubt about it in his mind that he would have been on one of those franchises in Dallas. I think he even mentioned Cleveland. Maybe he said, "Look, I would have played in Dallas, Seattle, or somewhere my hometown, back near Cleveland." So we'll see. We'll see.
We never know.
Talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
after the fact, yeah.
Yeah, after the fact. I mean, 10 years later, we know he's not playing now, so it really doesn't matter. Compete Forever on Black News Channel this weekend, Saturday, Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Eastern. You can catch it on Comcast, Xfinity, DirecTV, ATT, Dish Network, and also Charter Spectrum Cable System, 65 million households across the nation. Episode 38 this weekend is the Compete Forever Madden League Season 54 Super Bowl. Dak Wood, Derwin will be on there. Jay Alford. As well, the Giants Super Bowl champ from the 2007-08 team that knocked off the undefeated 18-0 Patriots will be on the call. It's the AFC and NFC championship games, and then the Super Bowl. See who pulls it out and wins the money, and also a chair from Zip Chair, our proud sponsors. The Compete Forever Madden League Season 54 presented by Zip Chair, Saturday and Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Eastern on Black News Channel this weekend. All right, guys, any shout-outs before we get out here? Let's go.
Texas, everybody in Texas, our brothers and sisters, our thoughts and prayers are with you. Hey, Willie, Kels. Yeah, man. Praying for you guys. Hopefully you guys got power back. You're not cold. Because this is brutal in Texas right now.
Yes. My mom's flight from Nashville, supposed to get her tomorrow, has been canceled. I put her on a flight on Friday. I think that's canceled too. So I'm
Mm.
trying to get to Atlanta Friday, man. It's crazy. Georgia Tech, they only gave Eastern Kentucky like 54 damn tickets for the entire team.
Mm.
And they got like 30, 35 players going down to Atlanta. It's a mess, dude. I don't know what's going to happen this weekend, but we're all trying to figure it out. OG, you got any shout outs?
Same like Derwin. I mean, praying for everybody in Texas.
Yep,
Shout out to Renee. I think she made the times 100.
Yeah,
Uh, that was pretty dope. Um,
absolutely.
that's
awesome.
pretty much it. Check out the OG Two Cents podcast.
Yes, sir.
Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and YouTube.
Talk about the NBA 2K League draft. The date is being set. We'll talk about that tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's coming up here in a few weeks in March. All right, guys. Thanks for everybody back there. Kevin Mamuzet, of course, pushing all the right buttons. Dagwood out there in Karnowski, next to Iverson's sister. OG King Kurt, Snoopy Hang On, OHIO, out there with them Buckeyes. And I think he's in Dayton. He's flying with the Flyers, right? He's flying in Dayton,
Right.
right? All right.
Right.
I'm Larry Ridley. Thanks for watching Esports Extra, the only live call-in sports show talking traditional sports, esports, and gaming. We'll see you tomorrow, regular time, 7 p.m. Eastern. Have a good night. See you tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern.